Well, hey everyone, I hope you guys are having a great week. I know I am. Here's why. The Cavs are on tonight. Game 2 of the second round of the playoffs. The Cavs are playing the Raptors. Some of you don't care at all, but I'm a huge Cleveland fan. And the Browns, in my opinion, had an awful draft, and so I have to be happy over something. So the Cavs are on tonight, and I'm pumped about it. Anyway, some of you don't care at all. That's okay. I'm going to dive into it. This weekend, we're starting a brand new series called Source Code, Untangle the Web, where we're going to be talking all about honesty. Honesty is our life app for this series, and honesty, we're defining it as this: choosing to be truthful in whatever you say and do. I'll say that again. Honesty, choosing to be truthful in whatever you say and do. And throughout the series, we're going to be looking at stories in the Bible where people choose not to be truthful or to be truthful, and watching and seeing the natural consequences of what happens when we choose not to tell the truth. And so this weekend, we're going to look at a story from 2 Kings chapter 5 about a person named Elisha and his servant, Gehazi. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but I think I am. Basically what happens is Gehazi chooses not to be truthful and goes behind Elisha's back and takes something that isn't his. And he loses the trust of Elisha. There's more details that go into the story, and the video will explain that. But ultimately, this story leads us to our bottom line, that when you're not truthful, you'll lose trust. I'll say that again. When you're not truthful, you lose trust. And so we want every kid in your group to know that bottom line before they leave there today, because that's super important for them to know. So I'm going to dive into our activities for this weekend. There's 3 of them, like always. Pretty easy, pretty simple, and straightforward. The first one is the human knot. It's a game, a fun game. Maybe some of you played it growing up in church world. You're going to get your kids in a circle and have them raise their right hand, and then everybody's going to grab the other hand of somebody else, the right hand. If they don't know left from right, you can do the little L trick. They should. They're in 4th or 5th grade. I don't know why I said that. Grab someone else's hand, and then they're going to do the same thing with their left hand. And make sure they're grabbing the left hand of somebody in the right hand with the correct hand, and then they're going to have to untangle themselves. It's a hard game. It probably will take you some time. Give them 5 minutes or so to work on it. They probably won't get untangled. They'll probably try and cheat, but have fun with it. Just get them going. If kids aren't engaged in it, do your best to try and get everybody involved and whatnot. It's a fun game, and it should be a good time for you to connect with the kids in your group. The second activity for this weekend is a Bible story extension activity. You're going to have some reflect cards is what we're calling them. These all have a little piece of the story on them, and they each have 2 pieces of the story. And what you're going to do is have your kids get into pairs of 2. So have them find a partner. If someone doesn't have a partner, you're their partner. Make sure everybody has one though. And what they're going to do is read what happens in the story. So this one says, Elisha tells Naaman to wash in the river 7 times. And so the person who sees that is going to act out what's happening in that part of the story. And while they're acting it out, their partner, who's standing across from them, is going to reflect what they're doing. And so tell the kids that they want to be as dramatic with their facial expressions. They want to try and be goofy, be fun with it, get them to make it hard for the person across from them to reflect at what they're doing. At the end of that reflection of the scene that they're reenacting, the opposite person is going to try and guess what scene they were talking about from the story. And then as they do that, you'll flip. There's another card at the bottom. They'll do the other one. That person will do the same thing. And that's kind of the second activity. At the end, there's some questions you'll ask them to talk a little bit more about what dishonesty looked like in the story, kind of recapping a little bit more of what happened throughout the story. And then the last activity is a prayer activity. This is a little more involved than most of our prayer activities are. You're going to have a tube of toothpaste, a paper plate, and a craft stick. What you're going to do is get your kids in a circle, have the paper plate in front of you. You'll hold the tube of toothpaste, and you'll say, who can give me an example of a time or an example of ways to be dishonest? And so what you want them to do is share times where we lie, where we don't tell the truth. And every time you have an example, you're going to put a little drop of toothpaste on that paper plate. After you get about 5, 6, 7, 8, depending on how many kids in your group there are, drops of toothpaste, you're going to give them all a craft stick and tell them that they have to try and get that toothpaste back in the toothpaste tube. Now, this is next to impossible to do, but the point is you're going to kind of transition and say that a lot of times when we don't tell the truth, we create a mess. We might lose someone's trust, we might hurt someone's feelings, and we can try really hard to fix it, just like we can try and put the toothpaste back in the tube, but ultimately we lose people's trust. We lose the ability for someone to believe us because we chose to be dishonest. And then at the end, there's a transition there at the end to prayer. Cool. And then remind them of the bottom line, too. We want every kid, before they leave, to know the bottom line, to know that when you're not truthful, you lose trust. Sweet, guys. I hope this was a little bit longer, but I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions or anything like